thought they had banished us forever. But now... finally... we have returned.
Hello and welcome to another Writer Showcase, everybody. Always a pleasure to be here, and I'm pleased to be here with my wonderful guests. And we'll start off with Aspiring Writer.
Enough! Kill me! Just end it.
No.
Where was that? Skyrim?
Shadow of War.
Shadow of War.
The video game.
Huh.
He's breaking Enola Kai's brain.
I'm now being reminded of the Nani clip.
Yeah, oh, yeah, now I'm just putting the Tarek rant on Transformers to go live tomorrow. So I just clipped that from our commentary. So yeah.
How long is his rant?
14 minutes.
He goes on for 14 minutes straight, no stopping.
Yeah.
Ooh, I need to see this later.
Yeah, it's gonna go live tomorrow at 2. Yeah, he's like, we are not 25 F.
Mate,
Yeah, we should call that.
also, you probably noticed, Replica's back and currently in VC just after I left, huh? I don't know why he returned.
I think it's mainly just he throws tantrums. Poor guy.
Like, I've done that before, but at the same time, what is here for him?
I don't know, but yeah, let's bring in Mr. Valeri.
Dracarys. But what's the new clip you were talking about?
Oh, it was just this one.
Enough! Kill me! Just end it.
No.
Okay. Okay. That certainly has lots of applications.
Yes, it does. I think it definitely applied to Your Highness.
Oh God, yes. Like basically to the entire thing. There were like there may have been 13 seconds in there that weren't bad.
Yeah, I think the only funny joke I remember was, I am probably going to die on this quest. Courtney definitely will. That is the only funny joke in the entirety of that movie.
Yeah. I mean, the bird was cute and the lizard was cute and a couple of the females were hot, and that was about it. In terms of...
Are these females human?
I think they were. They looked human.
You think? Okay,
Well,
if they're humanoid, that's good enough, mate.
Yeah, they're humanoid.
I don't care if they're... if I will do a succubi since they're humanoid enough, okay?
Surprise Valerian is here. I thought House of the Dragon had a book for this summer.
Well, I still have a bit of a break until summer comes.
Yeah, we're honest. Yeah, I feel like the Writer Showcase, like a lot of what he's written is pre-written, so he's mostly working on his magnum opus.
Who?
You.
Oh, yeah.
I think, like,
The House
in terms
of the
new
Dragon.
content. No, it's not House of the Dragon. It's the other. It's the book that he's writing that he's trying to eventually get published. I imagine.
Is that the Communist Buddy one?
No, it's.
Well, I've been
Lady
working on the
Margaret.
Lady Margaret thing, the serious one, but there's also one I'm trying to get
What's the
self-published, which is about Bozo.
What's the title?
The Quest for Sauron's Diary.
No, the Lady Margaret one.
Just plain Lady Margaret.
That's the title.
Yep.
Working title or final title?
It's certainly working at the moment.
Let me rephrase. So okay. I'm just wondering, like, how are you gonna stand out with the Lady Margaret title?
I don't
That's
know.
just the title.
I don't know. I might I might name it something else, but that's the title at the moment.
Fair enough. I was just wondering.
I mean, if you have a better idea for a title, I don't care.
I don't have any ideas. I'm just saying that, like, Lady Margaret is not going to attract, like, it is not going to attract readers. Readers just, like, because it's a little bit generic and doesn't say anything about the book, really.
Yeah, I might call it something else. I don't know.
No, it's not necessarily bad. It's just like there's the unfortunate thing is the marketing angle has to be, unfortunately, a thing that gets factored in, unless, like, and then there's always the possibility that your publisher will change it, unless you decide to self-publish, in which case you have full creative control.
Yeah, well, I'll carry on.
There is the unfortunate fact that people do indeed judge a book by its cover and title.
Yeah, I mean, if publishers want to call it something else, as long as it's not something that's absolutely ridiculous or disgusting. Maybe they'll call it something like the awesome. I need an adjective though, a noun. It has to have awesome in it.
The awesome misadventures of Lady Margaret. I don't remember her last name.
We don't need her last name. She's from the House of Pylamar, but we don't need a last name. She's from the castle of Serthaton. We could just call it Serthaton. That sounds cooler. At least it's exotic. Or we could call it, this book is incredibly awesome and badass, and all the characters are incredibly badass, and they're all and they're all going to have an incredibly awesome action scene at the end of the book. Although, of course, there actually are no action scenes in the book to speak of. But hey,
Is the high top?
So
You
what?
first. You first.
I don't know what I was saying. Carry on.
Is the high top video he's referring to the Batman one?
Yeah, the one where it shows Val Kilmer spreading out his arms toward the horrible fake looking taxidermy giant bat.
What?
You don't remember that bit? There's a deleted scene where Val Kilmer as Batman is standing in front of a giant bat puppet, and it looks terrible.
Which Batman was this?
Batman Forever, the one with Jim Carrey.
I don't remember. Batman Forever was the Riddler and Two-Face, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, that one was. It was like, it wasn't as bad as I was hoping it to be. It was kind of just bad in kind of a boring way with some elements of, like, room level terrible. Oh,
Yeah,
Jim
I
Carrey.
think the best of those was Batman Returns, I think. The one with Catwoman in it.
Yeah, Batman Forever, and it's going all fanboy. And it's like, he clearly likes Joel Schumacher as a person, and, like, I will never say anything bad about Joel Schumacher as a person. Joel Schumacher seems like a lovely person. I blame mostly, like, and honestly, like, Batman and Robin is an entertaining mess. So I'm like, I can't hate this guy. This is amazing. It's terrible, but it's amazing. I will rip Akiva Goldsman a new one every chance I get, because Winter's Tale sucks massively. And so many of his other movies are really bad.
Right.
All right. So, Valerian, I think you probably have like a lunchtime constraint, correct?
Yeah, in a bit I'll have to go to get lunch.
Okay, so you first, then Aspiring, and then me. Sound good?
Okay, this is going to be the Count of Monte Fato. So we're back to Monte Cristo in Middle Earth, where Middle Earth is 19th century France. Let's get over here. I wonder if I can share my screen. I'll see what happens. If I can't, then life will carry on. Yep, half a second. I'll just try doing this and see what happens. And let's see. Yeah, sorry about this. It's just taking a minute. Here we are. But it's not chapter 2, it's chapter 3. What are you talking about? Oh, well. I'll share it and see what happens. What happens is, that's what happens. All right. Anyway, regardless, we're in chapter 3 now, and he's met the Abbe Frodia. I measured time with a simple palantir, replied the Abbe. It cannot see very far, but it can see the sky through the window. Pointing to a slit so narrow, a cockroach would have been hard put to penetrate it, and thus distinguish day and night, as well as perceiving some of the brighter luminaries of the nocturnal sky, enabling me to make passable astronomical calculations. I made the palantir out of my gruel through what the Eldar call chemingole, and I employed the same science to create a light in dark places, where all other lights go out of my fingernails. As for the book, I am writing it on my bed sheets in an ink made of what it pleases me to call mushroom juice. But how can you possibly accomplish these marvels? Said Samoir Gamgez. Le bon goût, voilà le secret, said the Abbé with a smile. You would be astounded at how much one can accomplish with so little. Such merveilleux knowledge as you possess must have been obtained from books. But how can you read such books in this tenebrous abysm? Inquired Samoir, trembling with astoundment. I read them before my imprisonment so thoroughly that the works of Thucydide, Zenarwen, Dando, Pengolo, Camille Lesage, Jacques Bouze, the barbarian not devoid of genius, Moriadoc, Fendegil, Sauron, the steward Jansin, Michel Martineau, and of course all the other classics are graven in my memory. Naturally, I had acquired all the principal languages before imprisonment, and I used my palantir to study lower high Mordaurois even now. Show me the wonders you have made, I beg you, cried Samgez. The Abbé Frodia removed from under his bed a slightly soggy but functional palantir, a small crystal vial that glittered when Frodia moved it, and rays of white light sprang from his hand, and a large book with a red leather cover. I manufactured the cover for my shoes and the red dye for my blood, he explained modestly. You are wonderfully wise and learned, said Samoir. Perhaps you can answer a question that has vexed me for much time. Try as hard as I might, I cannot comprehend how I came to be here. I would discover what mortal has inflicted this suffering upon me, that I might not curse Eru for it. Tell me your story, that my intellect may masticate upon the facts and produce therefrom a truth as veritable as the indecencies of the mirror of Galadriela, replied the Abbé. Second. So Gamgés related to Frodia all that had happened, beginning with his engagement to Rosédes and ending with his imprisonment. So, remarked the Abbé, Sackville Danglars knew about the letter entrusted to you by your captain, and he had cause to be envious of you. Was he acquainted with Pipin, your rival in love? No. Yes. They dined together at Le Pony Prinçon with Brutaberus. They had pens and paper. Oh, what a nini hamier I have been not to see it. Infâme! Infâme! But how could they arrange that I be condemned without trial for imprisonment in this noisome pit? This is grave, said Frodia, but let us return to your account. You say that Monsieur de Villefaramir burnt the incriminating letter before your eyes. Yes, said Gamgés. He incinerated it, saying, Now your secret is safe. This conduct is too sublime to be natural, observed the Abbé. To whom was this letter addressed? To Monsieur de Denis-Toitier, Rue Coq, Urin, L'Éclair, numéro 13, à Numanas, replied Samoir. The Abbé laughed, if not merrily, at least long. Do you know who this Denis-Toitier is? He asked. Denis-Toitier is the father of Villefaramir, the thunderbolt, swooping upon Gamgés and carving at his feet an abysm that opened on the gates of hell or Mori, would have produced in Samoir an effect less sudden, less electric, less overwhelming than these words. Clearly, concluded the Abbé, Sackville Danglars and Pipin plotted to have you charged with treason and imprisoned, and Villefaramir had you sent here to conceal some dark secret from his past that was contained in your letter. Voila the reason why he was so eager to burn it. The knowledge of who had effected his imprisonment filled Samoir's heart with a cold fury. Could he but tear himself away from that place of horror, he would embark on a lonely journey for vengeance. His anger would bear him down all the roads of the world until he had them at last. Pipin, Sackville Danglars, and Villefaramir. Then those traitors would die in a corner. But that was not what he would set out to do. Far more terrible than that would be his revenge, and far more pleasurable. And so he swore an oath that none shall break, and none should take, in the name of Iluvatar, calling upon him the ténèbres sempiternelles d'absinthe, if he kept it not. And Manvre and Vard he named in witness, vowing to pursue to the ends of the earth those who had betrayed him. I am troubled to see that I have awakened in you the desire for vengeance, said Frodia. We will speak no more of that, said Gamgés with a sinister smile. But I would still like to know... Misericordia, cried the Abbé Frodia. If the giving of information is to be the cure of your inquisitiveness, I shall spend the rest of my days, short though they be, in answering them. What else do you wish to know? the names of all the stars and of all living things, especially poisonous plants, and the whole history of Middle-earth and over-heaven and the sundering seas, and the Champ Valinore, and all the chief languages of elves, men, and hired assassins, and where the best slave markets are, and whether Balrog have wings, and how best to prepare hashish, laughed Samoir. Mais bien sûr, and you expected perhaps autre chose? Very well, I will teach you all these things and far more, replied Frodia. It will help to pass the time, for there is only a brief time each day when we will be able to dig. Pardon me. And so Samoir began his remarkable education, learning everything from the correct pronunciation of Yeni Unotime to the intricacies of the Mordorian legal system. Although quite uneducated, he was a quick learner and rapidly absorbed every lesson in philology, philosophy, science, and haute couture that the consummate polymath imparted to him. Through constant interaction with Frodia, Gamgez acquired some of the Abbé's urbanity of speech and lost his rustic accent. And he never forgot what the learned Hobbit told him. No one will ever take you seriously until you stop adding, "Et c'est un fait, ça," to every other sentence. They did not give up their dream of escape. Every night, they spent a few hours digging in what the Abbé had determined through geomancy to be their best direction. They were always careful to return to the cells and conceal the passageway before the jailer made the rounds. One day, the Abbé Frodia said, in the most solemn voice Samoir had ever heard him use, "Listen, O son, I have something of the highest importance to communicate to you." "I'm listening," replied Gamgez. "I know a treasure that, should it come into your possession, will endow you with power and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. It is hidden on the volcanic island of Monte Fato, last remnant of the ancient realm of Mordor that was whelmed with waves." "Bah, you are mad. I mean, indeed?" replied Samoir as politely as he could. "After all I have taught you? You question me?" returned Frodia. "Now listen, and then behold the proof of my veracity. I had a decent career as a secretary for the Count of Galadon before he passed away, and my political opinions got me into water hot with the elvish authorities. In my hours of leisure, my master encouraged me to pursue my own interests in history and geography, and I explored the archives of Lothlórien, where I found, concealed under stacks of worthless trash like Il Signore degli Anelli and Facieux's The Harlequinades of Huron, or the tragical history of Monsieur de Finrod and Erendizet la Belle, the Testament of Sauron. "Sauron left a will?" cried Samoir. "But how came it to Lothlórien?" "Many are the amours of Galadriel," said the Abbé simply. Samoir blushed, and Frodia continued, "As is notorious, Elrond attained and kept his preeminent position in Terre Moyenne through the simple yet effective technique of poison, being indeed for a time the greatest expert in herb lore, although tobacco seems to have escaped him, in the northern lands. His plans were, however, rather thwarted by the existence of a puissant ruler bent upon reducing all kingdoms to a beneficent order, Sauron. Half a moment. But I thought Sauron was evil, protested Gamgez. So you have been taught, sighed Frodia. But when you escape, you will study the matter for yourself and apprehend the truth. On Tukar, Elrond decided to eliminate all his rivals by inviting them to a council. He made a point of inviting Sauron and his son, the Prince Fredigario. Sauron, suspecting that all was not Khalinar Bear cheese, with a secret will leaving all his possessions to Fredigario and warning him of evil. This will was stolen by Galadriel during her night of passion with Sauron, so that not only he, but also his son perished at the hands of Elrond's poisoned margaritas. Galadriel took the will with her to Lothlorien, and Samdut would have hunted for the treasure had she not been distracted with dwarvish dissipations. Therefore, it was left to me to find this remarkable document. I had just finished transliterating it and translating it into some 15 different languages when I was arrested. I offered my captors a state far beyond their merit and wit, and they repaid me with blague and raillery. So much the better. It shall be yours, mon fils. How can this be? Cried Samwar in amaze. Behold, replied the Abbé. He pulled from under his bed a very ancient manuscript written on the fell of Samwar dared not guess what creature. Gamgez gazed with fascination at the fiery letters. Today, the 25th of Lut Tessayal, 3018, having been invited to dinner by His Elveness Elrond the Sixth, and fearing that, not content with overcharging for the margaritas, he wishes to inherit my ring and reserves for me the fate of Isildur and Anarion, murdered through poison, I declare to my son and universal heir, Fredigario Sauron, that I have buried, in a place known to him from having visited it with me, that is in the cracks of the Isle of Montefato, all that I possessed of ingots, mithril, minted gold, talking swords named Gourtand, Arcampier, one ring to roll them all, and in the darkness bind them, escargot, diamonds, jewels, umbrellas, opera glasses, palantirs, and sundry other richesses, that I alone know the existence of this treasure, which is valued at almost 2 million gold pieces, and which you will find after having raised the 20th rock after the boiling of the thrush in wine, preferably Chianti or Monte Oyoleseo, whatever, on Durin's Day. 2 openings have been made in these rocks. The treasure is in the furthest corner of the second, under the great eye, which treasure I bequeath to him in full ownership, as my sole heir. The treasure, concluded Frodia, is worth more than the entire realm of Arnor. And let me see, how much more is there in this chapter? 3, 4. Okay. Huh. Okay. How long have I been talking?
About 20 minutes.
All right. I guess we need to stop here. This is a long chapter. I didn't know this chapter was so long.
Yeah, I do like Count of Monte Cristo. Maybe one day we'll do the movie, which I think that you'll definitely have some opinions on, as it has a happy ending.
Oh. Well, I guess it's sort of happy, and I guess it's sort of happy in the book.
Well, um, I'll I'll keep it a secret for now. But yeah, it's definitely not better than the book. I'll say that much.
Not better than the book, no. There's also that Japanese anime. We could watch that sometime too.
That one's weird. It's really weird.
Well,
That's all anime, really.
okay. Let me see what the chat. Let's see. Da, 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 da.
It's basically just some stuff about Mr. Chanthorpe is thinking about a video of mine to take a look at. Okay. The Thomas Modan and Neo Junish one. He's a good guy. I like him. We have the occasional disagreement, but I quite like him.
Cool. The Neo June-ish ones. That isn't June as in Arrakis and all that?
Yep.
Cool. Let's see. And we have Ryu from Street Fighter. People have weird long names in this chat. Not that I'm dissing their names, mind you. Elrond's Poison Margaritas.
I think it's, well, I think part of it is just we have a bunch of weebs, and weebs have long names. They go for long usernames oftentimes.
Yeah.
Done. Your username is also pretty long.
I know, but I think it's cultured.
Either that or pompous.
That's both. How about both?
Not that I can talk, mind you. Okay, so that's that. Yeah, this is the first several chapters of this parody are long because I ended up putting a bunch of chapters together because I wanted to get to the bit where it actually turns into the count. So I was
interesting bit.
So I was cramming a whole bunch of chapters together, but the result is that the chapters are long. Not to mention, it's a long book. It's like, in fact, I have it in 2 volumes, and I think the whole thing is a couple of 1,000 pages, maybe.
Yeah.
It's long.
Well, it was in a time and place where it was paid by the word.
Yeah.
So that led to Victor Hugo going on enormous, pointless tangents. And
At least Jamal doesn't have much in the way of tangents.
Yeah, Dumas is not as bad as Hugo. Hugo is in a class all of his own. What
Jamal tends to do is have lots and lots and lots of dialogue, and it's not always necessarily clear who's talking. I like dialogue, mind you, but he has lots of dialogue and have things where people repeat what the other person said, like Danglars has engaged his daughter to Cavalcanti. Someone else will say, Danglars has engaged his daughter to Cavalcanti? Cavalcanti? Question mark? Yes.
Isn't that an accidental, that's his illegitimate son, right?
Cavalcanti is the illegitimate son of Villefort.
Oh, Villefort and Madame Danglars.
Yeah. But anyway, that was just an example. I don't even know if they actually do that, but that's an example of the kind of thing he'll do. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Yes. OMG, we busted.
It uses kind of that's actually a good point. Like Bram Stoker, only read if you have the time, goes on forever. Not inaccurate, though. His the audiobook for Dracula is actually relatively short.
Yeah, mind you, it can be fun reading a long novel.
It can be like Stormlight's always fun, but for me, my preference is I like a long audiobook. A long book just kind of makes me feel like I'm like trying to accomplish a task sometimes.
Well, what I end up doing sometimes is taking a break from it. I mean, if it's a book that I've read several times already anyway, then I know what happens in it. I'm not fussed with trying to find out what happens, so I can read it for a bit. I can take a break and read something else.
I just hate audiobooks.
The only audiobooks I ever listened to are Ice and Fire with the book club. With the book club in Gray Areas Discord. And that's my only experience with audiobooks so far.
Yeah, they are. I quite like Roy Dotrice as a reader, though he gets sometimes does weird pronunciations.
The voices are weird, but yeah, he does it. He has gusto.
Yeah, I think his Catelyn is odd. I think Arya's fine.
We sometimes like to joke that he sounds like an 80-year-old smoker in an Irish village. His voice is. Well, it amuses us anyway.
Oh, it is extremely amusing sometimes. Alrighty. I believe it is Mr. Aspiring Sir, what will your writing be?
God help us.
Why? you don't need to remind me the movie exists.
Because I'm a dick. Why else?
Why what?
I miss good movies. I'm now thinking of the good one. And it's making me sad.
Yeah, the one where you said, I think Space Oyster said something very amusing. It said something, and you said, "I will cuck your parents."
Yes.
That is so funny.
Feel free to clip that.
I need to. I just clipped Tarek. I clipped Tarek's rant. I'll have to clip yours.
Yeah, the Space Oyster went silent after that too.
No, everybody burst out laughing.
He was silent for a bit. I remember. I think he went mute. Anyways, so recap. We're on the POV of Vampra, my third main POV character. She has captured Q, the other POV character. She's on her week off. She met with Cassidy, her wife, and they saw a little sky art show, and then they went to their room for sleeping. Now that you're technically caught up, Vampra started waking up slowly, blinking the blurriness away, before shooting up. Why didn't she feel like rising? Was she drugged? Consuming souls for healing, her energy restored and fatigue vanished. She face-palmed when she saw that she was in her quarters, ceasing her consumption. She wasn't drugged, she was just too comfortable. The bunks in her freighter were stiff and small blocks compared to the large bed she shared with Cassidy. Looking outside, the only light coming in being from the thousands of city lights, the sky still dark, she must have only slept a few hours. No wonder she hadn't felt like waking up. Unfortunately, those few souls had made her wide awake. Wishing she could go back to sleep, Vampira leaned down to give Cassidy a small kiss on the forehead, smiling as her hair changed from blue to red and so on. Slipping quietly out of bed, her hair a ruffled mess, she searched for her clothes in the dark where she had thrown them before realizing they were on a mannequin in the corner, her sight next to them. A quick glance showed they'd been cleaned during the time she'd been asleep. Ekiel had probably came in when he was sure they were done, ignoring her dismissal. Vampira shook her head with a rueful smile. She knew if she confronted Ekiel about his disobedience, he would counter the order was from the day before, as if he wouldn't have disobeyed regardless. She wondered what that man did when she wasn't around. Getting dressed, she left the chest plate inside the loam before unruffling her hair, leaving it to fall freely down her shoulders. Cassidy preferred longer hair. Looking out the window, Vampira stared out at the city of Shea. All the buildings were identical to each other, spaced exactly the same apart, the brightly lit streets outlining them. The Capitol building, which doubled as royalty's palace, was one of the few buildings not shaped like a cube. Neat and orderly, precise as a knife's edge, it was a stark contrast to where the other sources stayed. Kallen, the golden city of art. Itu, the city of spires and sharp angles. Satomi, the white pearl of the floating islands. They all felt like they were trying to prove something, while Shea seemed to have been designed to serve a purpose and nothing more. She didn't know how long she'd been staring when she heard the door chime. Wearing her mask, she opened the door to find Ekiel waiting. Why was he here at this time? Frowning, he said, "I see you're already dressed?" He made a questioning look. Stepping outside, she whispered, "I woke early. Is there a problem?" A grimace formed on Ekiel's face. "Unfortunately, I just received orders for you." Vampira's eyes narrowed. "I shouldn't be receiving any orders. My week is clean. Did you check to see if these orders were real?" He nodded. "I called up and had it confirmed that they weren't fake." Biting out a curse, she turned away from Ekiel, clenching and unclenching her fist. "You couldn't handle things without her for 1 week? 1 damn standard week? What am I being ordered for on my time off?" Ekiel brought out a screen from under his cloak. "It says that there's been a citizen uprising on an outpost on Karen 3. There's been negotiations for a few weeks to have some high-value targets released to the authorities, and the outpost finally decided to take up arms with whatever they had in their armory. They want you to help quell the rebellion and capture the targets alive." "And this can't be done by any of the other angels?" she demanded. "It's a citizen uprising. They hardly need angels for this." Ekiel nodded, raising a palpating hand. "I know, but they said that they don't want to rush the targets by bringing in more forces, and the outpost is an atmosphere dome, so there's a limit to how many they can fit. As for the angels," he looked back at his screen, "Gollum is yet to be replaced from your last assignment, Rebound has been deemed ill-suited for the purposes of this mission, Unbound is currently out of contact, probably possessing someone too critical to let go. Phantom is on a contact assignment, Mark has been assigned to deal with the revolutionaries, and Cecile is also ill-suited for the purposes of this assignment," Vampira finished with a sigh. "They couldn't find anyone else to handle this?" Ekiel lowered the screen and gave her a sympathetic look. "That's what they say." "Then go get my squad and freighter prepared. I'll break the news to Cassidy." Inclining his head, he ran to carry out her orders. Taking a deep breath, Vampira went back inside to find Cassidy sitting up, already awake. Not saying anything, Vampira crossed the room to the mannequin and started wearing her plate. "You're having to leave? You haven't even been here 1 day." "You know I have to." She started tying her hair into a bun. "I just got new orders." "You could refuse them." Vampira froze. Turning to Cassidy, she asked, Do you want me to? It took a moment for Cassidy shook her head defeatedly. No, someone needs you. But I wish you would. Cassidy took a loud breath. Call me selfish, but I wish you'd stay with me more. It's gotten lonelier since. Letting her hair fall unfinished, Vamper walked over and sat down in front of Cassidy, placing a hand on her knee. If you tell me to stay, I will. Looking up, Cassidy seemed tempted, her eyes longing on her. Eventually, she looked away. How long will you be gone? A few hours, a standard day at most. It's fairly small, I'll be back soon. Cassidy looked back at her. Promise? Vamper pushed Cassidy's hair behind her ear and cupped her chin. I promise. A small smile peeking through, she said, You will make this up when you get back. I have plans for tonight. I look forward to them. Getting up, Vamper finished tying her hair and, calling her sight to her hand, left the room for the landing docks. Ikiel had done his job well. As Vamper walked outside, she saw her freighter already powered up on the landing pad. Her aide himself was nowhere in sight to see her off, which was unusual for him. Looking around, Vamper tensed when she saw a figure she hadn't noticed before, standing to the side at over 3 meters tall, watching her freighter, the hood of her red cloak up. Bracing herself, Vamper approached Royalty, keeping one hand behind her back as she dumped the butt of her sight on the ground in attention. Up close, she could see all the different shades of red going down the cloak, the hood the color of dark, dried blood going down to a light pink, like that of new skin. Turning to her, Royalty's eyes shifted from red filly's eyes to red human eyes, her hair going from pure white to pitch black. She likely just meant to change her eyes to see slightly into the infrared, but the sources had a similar problem to those with potency, with their powers acting almost on their own. Royalty watched her for a moment before smiling. Vampra, I had noticed your freighter was preparing for a sudden departure. Are you leaving so soon? She nodded tightly. I just received new orders to leave immediately for Karen 3. Orders? It's your week off. I'll need to speak with Valentira about disturbing you, Royalty said, using Executor's real name. That's unnecessary, Vampra said quickly. Executor was technically her superior, even if all the sources could command her. Unnecessary? You only get 10 days out of the year to spend with my daughter. One of them shouldn't be wasted performing tasks that could be assigned to someone else. Unless you prefer spending time on assignments rather than with Cassidy. Vampra didn't say anything, Royalty said. I thought not. I'll speak with him later. We'll be discussing the angels soon anyway, so it'll hardly be out of the ordinary. Relaxing, Vampra inclined her head. Thank you, Royalty. Royalty raised an eyebrow. Vampra, you are my daughter as well. You can refer to me as Mother, or Lady Crimson. That would be inappropriate right now, Vampra said, nodding to the dock workers around them. No, perhaps not. But I hardly hear it when it is appropriate either. With that, she took her leave, leaving Vampra alone on the landing dock. With one last glance at the Capitol building, wishing Cassidy had asked her to stay, Vampra boarded her freighter. That is it. Thoughts, comments, concerns. I know that was a short one.
Fairly simple.
Yes.
Basically, as things are being, I get the sense that things are getting moving, and we get a sense of Vampra's character, relationship with her wife. We get to meet her mom. Fairly simple stuff. Yeah.
It's mostly a character one, though it is the starting of when things start picking up. Next chapter is more plot-y.
Well, I like those, let's see, the soul's making her wide awake. Somehow.
Yes.
I like that bit. I like this. There's a little bit about the cities, too. A little bit of world building never hurts.
Yeah, it just occurred to me that most of my settings actually are distinct somehow, which is completely by accident. I thought I would have that problem, but no. They all actually look pretty different.
Yeah, which is good. which is good. Ceasing her consumption sounded kind of weird wording there. I don't know what wording to use instead. It's a little odd. So well, anyway, that's what I have, and apart from that, it's entertaining.
Quit eating, maybe.
Uh,
Well, consumption is the term that's used for it. Like I put it as a capital C there, it's like because that's what it's called, is consuming souls.
ceased consuming, maybe.
Yeah, I think that works. Yeah, if it's capitalized, I think it works.
Yeah, I mean, you can use it's something that Harry Potter and Branda Sando have already done, is capitalizing verbs. It's sort of to indicate some kind of weird specialized sense. You can do that if you want to.
Yeah, I don't have many ways to tell when magic's happening, but that's one of the few ones I have. One of the few times I can capitalize.
Yeah.
Anything else? What do you think of the dynamic with Cassidy and Vampra? They're important, so hopefully they're engaging.
Yeah, I think it's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit distracted because I'm trying to shop online at the same time. And trying to order groceries online at the same time. It's sort of annoying.
Don't really have any other thought. No thoughts from me really. But yeah, it's just cute little relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have anything to ask. It's a small sweet chapter. It's just a little bit of character building and starting Vampra on her way towards getting her entire life ruined.
So, royalty, that's a title, not the actual name, right?
I wouldn't say title, more just all the sources have a name that's not
Moniker.
their name.
So like the Forsaken.
Kinda, yeah. It's
Where,
like
where Lanfear's real name is Mierin Aranhael, but she picked the name Lanfear for herself.
So it's easier to say.
yeah. It's like they mention that Executor, who's another source, his real name is Valentira. So they all have real names. Hers is Jennifer Crimson, and they all just, no one really knows them or uses them. The only ones who do is themselves or those who tend to be around them, which would be Vampra and Cassidy, among a few others.
Cool.
Is Valentira, is royalty a good name? Because I know there is some stupidity with having her name herself royalty.
It does sound like a title.
Like, if it sounds like a title, it's fine. It's like, part of my thing is I have the royal families, which are headed by Mirage, not royalty. The reason she calls herself royalty is because she was royalty once upon a time. It's not a time anyone remembers, but she was royalty.
Cool.
Is that fine? Is the name cringe?
Maybe not royalty. Maybe like like some derivation of royalty, as that sounds like it's more like a person rather than a class.
Any specific suggestions?
Kind of just like some royal might be better.
I'm trying to think. I mean, princess makes it sound like a cat or something, so I don't know about princess would work.
Queen.
Yep.
Queen, that might work.
Queen and
Yeah.
Princess are not exactly what I would want her to be named. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't exactly look good on her to name herself Queen.
Let's
Especially when
see.
she has four other sources which she has to cooperate with.
Let's see. Now I'm tempted to leaf through my thesaurus.
Because my first name for her was Royal Blood. But then I'm like, I don't think people are going to like that name. I'll just shorten it to Royalty.
I think you should call her Sweet Polly Purebred. Sorry.
Which is,
Call her Purebred.
Sweet Polly Purebred.
It's,
Sorry.
it's an underdog
Sorry.
since he's been revisiting his childhood.
It's a very touching moment in the story. Let's see. Authority.
Now we just have to watch the underdog movie.
Oh, God help us. I guess you wouldn't want to call her despotism.
I don't think she'd pick that for herself, no.
Iron Sway, Rod of Empire. I don't think any of those will do. Oh, a moment. Let's see. 7.
Seventh heaven on demand. Quite
Should be-
unusual nowadays.
Should be-
Virgin
Let's see.
defiled. Minds
Let's see.
running
Caesar, Sultana, Tsarina, Infanta, Maharani. Begum is Muslim. And of course, there's a bunch of masculine ones, which would be kind of weird. It'd be kind of weird naming her Tsar, I think.
Well, there's actually, funnily enough, Sarmina is the name of an evil wildcat in Mossflower.
Well, you could call her Tsarina. That works. Although it's it's a Russian, but hey. Maharani sounds cool.
It could be like Sarina, as in like I think something like, since Sarah means princess. I believe.
In what language?
I think it's Hebrew. Yeah, Hebrew. Since when God changed Sarah's name from Sarai to Sarah, that was one of the. That was the the meaning of her new name, I believe. Just like Abraham's, like the father of many.
Okay. Yeah.
It's up to you. It's just the royalty. It just sounds like a class rather than a person.
You could call
Yeah,
her
I
Ida
get
May.
Call her
you
what?
You could call her Ida May.
What does that mean?
I don't know. That just helped my head. I'm just being weird. Don't mind me.
Yeah, for now, just keep.
Valyrians are funny.
Indeed. I'll just have to keep it as royalty for at least a placeholder for now until I get a better idea.
Yeah, there's no rush. Let's see. Okay, that's why.
The chat's fucking empty.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to them. They all died.
Yeah.
Screaming. Not even screaming.
Alrighty.
Well, that's it. So, done. You reading?
Yep. All right.
Hmm.
So, last time we had a very dense exposition chapter regarding demons, elder ones, etc. And Mordred has told Varys and Kara that he'd be working with the mages to give them some of his power, so they can draw on it more efficiently. Kind of, we saw a little bit during the battle, but now he's giving them permanent access to his powers. I'll start. Chapter 15, Peace and Power. Lylana couldn't help but be creeped the hell out by whatever deformed creature was wearing Captain Arthur's face. Despite having those strange scar growths on his cheek running down his throat to his spine, he looked like Captain Arthur from when he was a raw recruit. Lylana could clearly remember Lord Varys bringing him into the army, with as proud a look as any father could have. Now, I hope that you won't hold this against me. Mordred waved at his face. I wish I could have prevented this, but it was out of my power. So, you're able to impart some of your power to us? Kate asked, refined voice betraying a hint of eagerness. Yes, Mordred nodded. By being in my vicinity, you are able to tap into some of my power, but that can only happen while I'm close. Please explain. Lylana folded her arms. Think like having a fire close to you. Mordred raised his hand and made a purple flame dance above his palm. You feel its heat, its warmth, but as you move away from it, the warmth departs. However, what I am giving you is the ability to take some of the fire for yourself and keep it with you. All right. Kate swallowed, rubbing her hands absently. So, how's it done? Teach us. It's less a teaching thing so much as a granting of permission. Mordred waved his hand and created a chair, air out of nothing. Please, sit. I'm out of blanket in. What? Why a damn chair? Humor me. His hands on the back of the chair and tapped his fingers against the cushioned back. It used to be kneeling, but I've gained a new appreciation for your circulation afflictions. How compassionate of you, Lylana said sarcastically. If you don't like me, I get it. Mordred looked down. I'm going to try and make things right with you and everyone else who Arthur was important to. But I can't unless you let me. Lylana couldn't argue with that. It was quite fair. But still, she just couldn't stop thinking about how damn unsettling it was whenever she saw those demon oil-colored eyes of his. Fine. It's just... She trailed off. What? Mordred asked, making a circular motion with his fingers. You look strange, and it's really creepy, Lylana blurted. Rather than being offended like she'd expected, Mordred just chuckles. Well, points for honesty. He scratched at the strange ridges on his cheek. I don't really look normal, do I? No, but I imagine that at least a few women will probably throw themselves at you, even if you don't procreate, Kate remarked mildly. Lylana stifled a laugh. Then when she saw Mordred's blank expression, she gaped. What? You've never? No, Mordred cut her off calmly. It's not something that elder ones do. You're missing out. Sex is wonderful, Lylana grinned. Me and my husband made love almost twice a day while we were married. Then the poor bastard died of heart failure a few years ago. She grimaced. I haven't had anything good between my nethers except, please, no details, Mordred said quickly. I think we get the picture. Grinning, Lylana rocked back and forth on the balls of her feet. So, what you gonna do? Well, Mordred patted the chair. Have a seat. I'll give you access to my power and place a blessing upon you. A blessing? Kate asked, sounding as confused as Lylana felt. What kind of blessing? Mordred breathed out slowly, as if trying to figure out how to explain. I'm not sure even I understand how it works. The gist of it is, When I give you access to my power, I'm also tapping into something more powerful than I am. And when I place my blessing upon you, you're receiving promises that are binding throughout this life and the next from something greater than me. Really? Kate exchanged looks with Lylana. How does it work? I don't know. The working theory is that the one who created me is giving me some kind of inspiration in regards to what kinds of protection and guidance you're going to need for the specific obstacles you're going to be facing during this time. He explained, sounding like he'd explained this several times and was carefully controlling his tone. Honestly, I have no idea how it works. Just that every time I've done it, it worked. Really? Kate asked. What was an example? Well, there was one time I blessed a man and his wife who were going on a journey to a far off land, and I blessed them that they would return home safely from the journey, and then they did. Mordred shrugged. Another man, a king, asked for wisdom. So when I blessed him, he received many divinely inspired judgments before he fell into idolatry and hedonism. That's bloody comforting, Alana said mildly. So you can't just grant wishes, right? I can get pretty close. Mordred tapped his fingers against the chair absently. But if you mean infinite good fortune, no, that is not within my power. Ah, I see. Lana pursed her lips. So, who first? Up to you, Mordred said mildly, shrugging with an unconcerned expression. I'm not choosy. You're a senior between the two of us. Kate toward the chair. Admittedly, she wanted to see what would happen before she let the creature touch her. Kate shrugged and settled down in the cushioned chair, seeming unworried about Mordred touching her. All right, sounds like a good idea. She adjusted herself to sit more comfortably on the chair. What is your full name? Mordred asked. It's a tradition thing. It's Kate Caldor Zane, she said mildly. I didn't know my mother, so I didn't inherit her name or my grandmother. All right, sounds good. Please, close your eyes for me. Mordred slowly placed his palms on the top of Kate's head and closed his eyes. Alana kept her eyes on him, not wanting to take any chances. He breathed in slowly. Then he began to glow. Alana shaded her eyes, then realized that it wasn't blinding despite how bright it was. Kate Caldor Zane. Mordred's voice immediately became richer, more powerful, as if someone else were speaking through him. You shall have the keys to access my power, granting you capacities far beyond what you would have on your own. At this time, I bless you with the knowledge of what must be done to accomplish the work that has been placed before you. I bless you with judgment of difficult matters and the strength to choose the right path. Something about the way he was speaking, maybe it was the words themselves, made her feel a kind of power coming out of him and into Kate. For a moment he paused, then kept talking. Kate, the goddess is aware of your struggles with the loss of your son. His death has deeply hurt you, and not even time can fully heal the wound left behind. But at this time, I bless you with peace and comfort during this difficult hour. Lana stared at him, somehow believing that everything coming out of his mouth was true. To her amazement, she could see tears falling down Kate's cheeks. Mordred kept on talking. I bless you with the knowledge of where your son is. He wishes he was back here with you and his father, and his wife. How much he loves you. He will be watching over you throughout your mortal travails, and his strength will accompany you through your journeys. Yes. Yes. And when you and your husband depart this life, your son will greet you with open arms. I seal this upon you, that the heavens may honor the promises made to you. Slowly, he removed his hands from her head and leaned on the back of the chair, eyes slightly unfocused, as if a great deal of energy had been abruptly removed from him. Eyes still streaming tears, Kate stood up and pulled Mordred into a hug. Thank you, she whispered as she clung to him. I needed to hear that. Alana put her hand to her own cheek and realized it was damp with tears. Swallowing, Mordred hugged her back, looking like he was using her for support. Gradually, she released him, self-consciously wiping her eyes. Letting out a long breath, Mordred raised his hand, a ball of light appearing over his palm. He closed his fist, squeezing the light like a damp sponge. With a slight hiss, the light disintegrated and flowed into him. Instantly, he straightened and rubbed his forehead. Ah, he sighed. There. You have the keys. Do with them as you will. Keys? Kate frowned. What do you mean? It's a figure of speech, really. Mordred shook his head. Essentially, you have the keys or access to the latent power that my current vessel, you might call it, cannot handle, as well as whatever gives me my powers. Oh, Kate raised her eyebrows. Well, that's going to break Varys's brain. Oh, he's going to like some of what I'm going to tell you soon. Mordred shrugged and motioned to Lyanna. It's your turn, if you wish. It doesn't have to be you. I just know that Arthur and Kara hold you as a trusted confidant. Lyanna paused, then nodded. Something about what had just happened. She couldn't quite place it, but this wasn't just the demon thing he looked like. His voice had held such compassion and understanding when he had told Kate about her son. Maybe he was what he seemed. Or he's faking it. Why the hell not? Lyanna shrugged and settled herself into the chair. It was quite possibly the most comfortable chair she had ever sat in. You have good taste in chairs, sir, she remarked, placing her hands on her lap. I try, Mordred said in a clear attempt at self-deprecation. So, full name, please. Lyanna Tissaia Millane. She adjusted her rump so it was just a tad more comfortable. Lyanna, lovely name. It suits you. Mordred placed his hands on her head. As soon as his hands, one normal, one too thin and overlong, touched her, Lyanna had to hold back a gasp. It felt like a golden warmth was flowing out of his hands down into her head and straight through her body down to the tips of her toes. Then he started speaking. Lyanna Tissaia Millane, he whispered, by the power of the Great Mother and by my authority as Herald of Gwyndevyr, I lay my hands upon your head and confer upon you the office of High Priestess along with the powers and responsibility of that office. You already have great strength. Already great strength will be amplified, and you shall be a force for great good throughout the battles that will be waged throughout this new war. Lyanna, you have endured much over the past few days, and yet you have borne your afflictions with courage, determination, and strength. You may feel you are a failure, but your Creator wishes you to know that the friends you have lost along the way love you and are watching over you, giving you encouragement to complete your tasks while in this life. Tears were flowing down Lyanna's cheeks as he spoke. How do you know that what I've been struggling with? It was as if he had peered into her soul and had spoken directly to what she had been keeping her eyes out over each night since the forest. At this time I wish to speak peace to your mind and soul, to tell you that Ananias is watching over you and will be with you in times of great travail. This time also I wish to seal upon you another blessing, and say to you that you and your husband will be together after this life, and that he eagerly awaits you on the other side Light of the Veil. I bless you with peace and strength during this time, and though loss will accompany you through the wars to come, you will be strengthened to bear your trials. I seal this upon you, that the heavens may honor the promises made to you. Slowly retracted his hands, then leaned heavily on the chair, breath coming in labored gasp. Lylana wiped her tears away, then rounded the chair and wrapped the skinny, young-looking man in a farm wife's hug, mostly to keep him upright so he could get his wind back. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you, thank you." And that'll be all for today. Thoughts, questions, comments, critiques?
I liked it. Nice ending.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of almost a small arc, really.
Hmm. I think the Count's dead.
Oh dear.
The Count is having an annoying moment in the kitchen. So what did I note down from that? Let's see. I thought it was a kind of a cool scene, the whole Mordred blessing thing. Was that what that was? I wasn't sure who all the people were. I remember Kara and Varys, but I don't remember.
So Kate Lylana's kind of a minor character. She's just one of the mages. She's only been mentioned a couple of times. Kate is Arthur's mum.
Oh, okay. Is Kara Arthur's wife?
Yep, Kara is Arthur's wife. Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. I thought there was some kind of connection.
Yeah.
And Varys is her brother, right?
His father-in-law.
Oh, okay.
They just have a rather comfortably antagonistic relationship, since unlike her, he is an atheist.
Right, I do remember that little detail.
Yeah. Yeah, he was actually like fairly chuffed when Mordred said, like, the religion that is here was started by me and was meant as a way to honor my dead mother. He's like, I knew that God didn't exist. He's like, I didn't say that.
Is Mordred going to write a book and entitle it The Book of Mordred?
No, he's already written a book.
Oh, good. That doesn't need to write a book. It's already there. The Book of Mordred already exists.
Well, not the Book of Mordred. It's just the Book of the Law, kind of like what Moses did.
Well, I'm just doing a bad joke.
Oh no, it's like literally he wrote the book.
He wrote the book. He wrote the book. He wrote the book on that.
He wrote a book and, or at least like codified a lot of teachings together, almost like a Simon Peter type.
Please don't write a sex scene for Mordred.
Oh no, that's the point, that this man is eventually going to die, and if he does anything wrong throughout the book, the sacrifice that he's going to make will be rendered meaningless.
Good.
If he gets married, it will be if he should get married, it will be a wholesome marriage, and I will not include anything salacious. That's not the point of this book. I want people to be able to read it who are of my persuasion.
Not to mention, it might get a little distracting.
Oh yeah, definitely. It would definitely get distracting.
Yeah. I mean, I do like these characters.
Also, kind of helps that they're like mostly good people.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, one gets tired of bad people after a while.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the thing about the Dragon Lord annals. There's kind of a mix of good people and bad people. You gotta
Right,
have
is this in there? Is this part of the Dragon Lord annals too?
no. This is a completely different world. This world does not have dragons.
Yeah, I don't remember any dragons.
Yeah, yeah. There are no dragons in this world. Sorry.
Bother.
There are giant wolves, and there are dragon-esque people, but the only dragon person is basically just she has dragon wings and a tail and horns.
Oh, is that all? That's banal. I met 20 people exactly like that just in the last 5 minutes.
Ow. So essentially what you're saying is you met a bunch of scalies.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of a scaly myself, so hey.
I don't think you fully understand the nature of how like you don't want to say that. It's like you don't really mean that.
Oh, but I do from the depth of my being.
So you like having sex with lizards?
Like space junk.
It's don't mock it till you've tried it.
Okay, so officially you heard it here, folks. Valerian's
Valerian's a
reality.
scaly.
Those people don't really exist. Those people don't really exist, do they?
Yeah.
Yes, they actually do exist. That's the whole furry thing.
God help us.
Space Junk's one. He's a baby miner dragon who's into adult dragons.
Oh, that's kind of gross too.
Yes, I make fun of him for it. They're only 100 years old. Looking at 1,000-year-old dragons.
Oh wow, I thought he was like in his 20s. Okay, 100 years old, but he's hanging out with a 1,000-year-old. That's gross.
Yeah.
Do I have anything dragon-esque? I must have something dragon-esque in my picture somewhere. Not that it matters.
Alrighty. Well, I think we'll call it good for today. I gotta get going to Smudcast and watch Maggie Mae Fish talk about Rob Schneider.
I feel sympathy for your brain, which will probably need recovery in a hospital.
Well, I've watched at least 20 to 30 Maggie Mae Fish videos at this point, so my brain's already thoroughly damaged beyond repair.
Well, no comment. I mean, I'd say something rude about it now, but
I'd rather walk into the site of Chernobyl than watch whatever it is. Just judging by what the fuck she says.
Yeah, like Robocop being a trans icon.
Why are people retarded? Why do retarded people exist? Can we just not be retarded?
Yeah. Well, but anyway, I think I'll end on this clip as a sign of what's going to happen.
Oh, don't worry. It won't hurt me.